Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself the balance of the time.
The gentleman is recognized for 7 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, you've heard a lot of heartfelt sentiments from my friends here on the floor of the House today. Unfortunately, what you haven't heard is what we are going to do together to ensure that the heartfelt sentiments of every single citizen of these United States can be heard here in Washington. I fear my friend from Colorado is right. I don't say that lightly. He has a lot of good ideas, and I hope to collaborate with him on even more. I fear he's right that this is a single-chamber solution. I fear that only the United States House of Representatives is concerned with protecting the voice of the people, not just people who agree with me, Mr. Speaker, but people of all stripes. I read from the Sierra Club earlier. Let me read from the ACLU, Mr. Speaker, from their comment to the administration on this rule. This is what they say. Social welfare organizations praise or criticize candidates for public office on the issues, and they should be able to do so freely without fear of losing or being denied tax-exempt status. That is the heart of our representative democracy, the ACLU says. The proposed rule, that's the administration's rule, that's the rule we're here today to stop. The proposed rule threatens to discourage or sterilize an enormous amount of political discourse in America. Mr. Speaker, I have a chart here today. You can't see it from where you are, but it lists what tax-exempt organizations are able to do. You know, 501c is that section of the tax code that deals with tax-exempt organizations. You have 501c3s that are able to do get-out-the-vote work, voter registration work, candidate forums. 501c4s are where the administration is regulating, and that's the source of the scandal, the targeting of American citizens based on their political beliefs. And 501c5s, those are the labor unions in the country. And, Mr. Speaker, what folks need to understand is, as we sit here today, all of these groups can do get-out-the-vote work. All of these groups can do voter registration work. All of these groups can do candidate forums. Why? Because it advances our republic. It advances the cause of freedom and discourse in America. But this, Mr. Speaker, is what the administration is proposing. It's proposing for 501c5s, labor unions, to continue doing all of that material. For 501c3s to continue doing all of that. But the 501c4s, the very same 501c4s that were targeted by the IRS on the basis of their political beliefs, those groups and those groups alone would be silenced. Mr. Speaker, America is not advantaged by that rule. Maybe in some short-sighted way, someone believes their personal political agenda is advanced by that scheme, Mr. Speaker, but we do not. We as a nation do not. It is a short-sighted game. That's why we put this bill on the floor today to delay these regulations, these new regulations, this change of how American political discourse occurs for 1 year and 1 year only while the investigation completes itself. Mr. Speaker, I just want to read from the report that the Inspector General crafted at the Treasury Department. He says, what were the words, what triggered this additional investigation that went on? This is what they were, Mr. Speaker. If you use the word Tea Party, you might get special scrutiny. If you use the word patriot in your name, you might get special scrutiny. If you were concerned, Mr. Speaker, this is reading from the Treasury Department report, if you were concerned about government spending, government debt, or taxes, you could be subjected to special scrutiny. If you wanted, quote, Mr. Speaker, quoting from the report, to make America a better place to live, you could be subjected to special scrutiny. Now, the administration has gone far beyond that, Mr. Speaker. They're not just going to subject some groups to special scrutiny, as is the source of the scandal. They are silencing all groups. If you had a statement in your case file, Mr. Speaker, that criticized how this country is being run, you were subject to special scrutiny. That is not just our right. That is our obligation. Our obligation as citizens is to criticize the way this country is being run when we don't agree, because after all, Mr. Speaker, the President doesn't run this country, the Congress doesn't run this country. We, the people, run this country. This rule to bring this bill is about one thing and one thing only. And that is making sure that those people to whom the Constitution invests every bit of power that the country has to offer, the American citizens, have a voice with which to express their concerns and the information on which to educate that voice. My colleague from Georgia was absolutely right, Mr. Speaker. There are many things that happen on the floor of this House. You can't tell the difference between who's who regionally, politically, what it is that folks believe. But this issue is one of those defining issues. Do you believe that the Board of Directors of America, the United States citizen, deserves a loud voice and full information? If you do, you vote yes on this rule, you vote yes on the underlying legislation, you reject the administration's effort to silence the American people on both sides of the aisle, and you commit yourself to believing that a full and open debate is the only way in which this country will succeed. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back